a Playlyst original.
Welcome to the Pilot Podcast,
where we review the pilot episodes of TV shows to answer your question, should I watch this?
My name is BJ.
And my name is Mitu.
And we've reached the end of 2025.
Whoa.
So it's that time of year where we go over our favorite shows. The best of 2025.
So stay tuned to the end to find out BJ's favorite shows of 2025.
And your favorite shows of 2025.
That's true. They're going to get a twofer.
This is a combined list. We've broken it down by genre to make it easy. We hope you'll check out these recommendations. And let's dive right in. What category should we start with?
Let's start with one of my favorite categories where everybody can watch together. It's the holidays, so maybe the kids are on the couch, grandparents are on the couch, everybody's chilling. What can we watch?
Sounds like you want to go over some of our favorite family shows. And I think top of the list this year, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man on Disney+.
Very good.
A nice alternate take on Spider-Man. We're seeing different versions of characters we're familiar with, and we're kind of getting that origin story, but it does feel fresh.
I do feel bad about that little child that was recruited into the gang, but beyond that, great program.
It's a tough neighborhood.
We also watched a throwback in Danny Phantom.
Yes, a show that was new to you, I have fond memories of when it aired.
And then we have Haunted Hotel on Netflix. I watched the entirety of that. And Win or Lose on Disney+, which is obviously Disney Plus's continued scheme to put all of our anxiety disorders on screen for us to watch and stare at.
But it was entertaining. That's what we love.
Yeah.
Speaking of things we love, let's go to a genre that you love more than me.
You're talking about comedy because this is the time of year people are exchanging gifts and smiles and hugs and care. And that's what BJ doesn't like. He does not like the shared mirth, joy. For those of us who do like that, who like the exchange of a smile, these are some of my favorite comedies of 2025.
Our favorite?
There are a ton of great comedies that have come out this year. We tried to distill them into two general categories. Family comedies. So this is not family-friendly shows necessarily, but these are shows dealing with family dynamics. And for me especially, that's Clean Slate on Prime Video, Gone Too Soon. Such a good show with legendary comedian George Wallace opposite Laverne Cox. Stumble on NBC. That's another sort of in-between family and workplace comedy because that cheer team does become a family.
They're a found family.
They're a found family. We have North of North on Netflix, a young woman discovering herself and starting over. Deli Boys on Hulu kind of blurs that line again between family and workplace. And then we have Leanne. Again, I love a story about a woman starting over.
A show made specifically for you.
100%. And then we have some workplace comedies.
The Chair Company on HBO Max, which this leaned more for you. You have to like and appreciate cringe humor.
Yes.
The Paper, NBC Peacock, our nice The Office spinoff, which I think they did a great job, even if a lot of the same characters fit those beats.
There was specifically in The Paper a joke about an email that one of the editors whose job was threatened that she sends around that made me laugh so hard I had to pause. And I feel like if your pilot has a joke that good and that big, this will be a great show.
And if said character can also make it interesting to hear the explanation of a listicle, you've got gold.
Exactly.
And to round out our workplace comedy genre, we have Black Ops on Hulu.
Perfect show. Perfect show. The Brits know how to do a short episode season and tell the story really well.
That is true. And that one, I will say, also leans towards our surprise hits.
That's true. Okay, so why don't you take us from haha funny to woo?
I think you're talking about sci-fi/fantasy.
Because a lot of these had some scary elements.
Are you referring to Paradise on Hulu?
Yes. So good, but so scary. I was on the edge of my seat watching that one.
But not when you were watching Ironheart on Disney Plus.
No, all I wanted was for her to make better decisions at every turn.
Although that one does have a potential ghost person from the past, so a little spooky.
Yeah.
And then Damascus on Tubi, which really leaned into the what if concept.
And a very topsy-turvy world. Nothing is reliable as the storyteller.
Nothing. And you look back on it and you're just more questions pop into your head.
Yes.
And then we have to include a K-drama, Genie Make a Wish on Netflix, which I think is a fun twist on the idea of what if your main character doesn't want a wish?
Not even just doesn't want a wish. What if your main character is not this typical, likable damsel in distress? It questions why you need that kind of character. She holds her own. She is confounding to us as the viewer as well as to the genie.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's looking for good in the world. She's not necessarily the good in the world, but she also is not falling for his tricks. Ooh, it's so good and interesting the way it turns that on its head.
Speaking of things that often turn things on their head, what's our next genre?
We have some mystery thriller shows that came out this year. We have The Residence on Netflix. That's another one like Leanne, where I don't know if an algorithm necessarily is the reason that they created this plot. I think genuinely someone at Netflix just went into my interest history. Who would I want to cast in a show? Who do I need to see lead it? Do I need to see quirky detective Uzo Aduba solving a crime? Yeah, I do, sincerely. That's a show that I was stunned to see canceled after first season because it was so good and it had such a good pilot, but still strongly recommend it as such a fun mystery because obviously we learn who done it by the end of the season. So it's very satisfying as well, but just a fun pilot. Then we have Pluribus on Apple TV, which I was surprised by how much I liked it. This really felt more like your game.
Yes, this is the type of like mystery that I want where it's not too creepy. We do have a lot of questions. What's going on with literally everyone in the entire world? But you have such an engaging main character and the plot keeps moving along and you never feel lost.
That's true. And then there's this otherworldly element because you could put this in the sci-fi and fantasy as well that also has you sitting up. Like truly, I know when we reviewed it, I assume I said this, I don't remember anymore, but it is what happened. I was like laying down when I watched Pluribus and then not a few minutes into it did I sit up. Like it quite literally had me on the edge of my seat once we understood what this like sci-fi element was.
And the next show also had me on the edge of my seat, All Her Fault on Peacock.
This is one of those shows where it's like, is this good? I don't know. Like, is this some show that is all the awards bound? Unclear. But is it a good, juicy mystery where once you and I wrapped up recording, I sat right back down and watched several more episodes of it? Yes. I had to know what happened to that little child.
And I think that's the definition of a good mystery, a good thriller. Every second you want to know more because sometimes these shows can drag. This one, what did she say? What did he say? Where was he? What's going on?
Exactly.
That's what you want.
And then Sarah Snook and Dakota Fanning, I did not ever think of those two actors as people I would play off of each other because I feel like they do such different projects.
Yeah.
They are so good together because obviously the underlying story in this, and I say obviously, I think if you watch it, you would understand, or even just read the premise, is moms who are really tired. And they play that off each other so well. And then we have another mom who's maybe a little bit too active in The Girlfriend on Prime Video.
Yes. The first thing I remember about this is that there's just a scene between that mom and that son that makes you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And this is a show We're kind of the other end of too cringe, where maybe you get a little too uncomfortable, but that's what draws you in because the mom's a problem, the girlfriend's a problem, and the son, he's oblivious to too much.
Which is another problem.
Yes.
The girlfriend to me is like opposite Chair Company. Chair Company is so cringy in its humor that I'm laughing from the discomfort and from the ridiculousness of how these people are engaging and around what topics.
Mm-hmm.
The girlfriend, that first scene that you're referring to, truly it's how they open the show, is they show how odd this relationship is between mother and son. I almost cut my TV off and I almost told you, maybe we don't watch this one. This is the kind of show that you watch with like your hands over your eyes like you would a horror movie. And you're just like, okay. I just need to know what happens. But oh my gosh, like I don't like any of these people. I'm scared. I'm frightened. I'm alone. I'm vulnerable. That's how I felt watching The Girlfriend.
Yeah, this is a show where I hope these aren't real. This shouldn't be based on a true story for the sake of everyone.
Yeah, I need this plucked out of the air. Not a single inspiring story for this one.
Really, maybe we should put this in the fantasy. Nope, nightmare count.
Yeah. New category, nightmare.
Well, we can go to a category that does not stress us out as much, and I think is just lighthearted most of the time, and that's reality TV.
I would say for each of these that we picked, these could have been surprise hits for me because we do have our surprise hits category that we'll share at the end of shows that really surprised us how much we liked them.
Yes.
Each of these reality shows surprised me. I did not have high expectations when I read the concepts of these shows, and yet I was sat through each of these pilots.
I think that's fair. None of these concepts are something I would expect either of us to imagine.
Yeah.
For example, Destination X on NBC. What if a bunch of people are on a bus and have to guess where they're going?
For money. Or they get kicked off the bus and then you go, oh man, I was in Italy.
We're laughing as we describe it, but it's so entertaining.
That's exactly what happened in the pilot. Somebody got kicked out and they were like, the Coliseum. Of course.
And there's a little more to it. There's some challenges. Precision is important. So not only do you guess where you are, but like exactly where on a map. But at the end of the day, it's just put a pin on a map.
Yeah. And so much deception.
Those people were fighting, which you got to for the prize money.
Yeah. People were like, I'm a cartographer. I'm definitely going to tell people professionally I'm a nail artist. Like, it was just like, I do not want these people to know I have whatever skill. Very fun. On the other side of fun, not on a skill level, but on a, whoa, this is messy level, we had Temptation Island on Netflix.
That show, full of deception as well, because it presents the question no couple should ever ask of what if, what if my partner who has a history of cheating is allowed to date hot people in front of me?
It's if you did The Purge. It's actually just as violent as The Purge. I was going to say it'd be like The Purge, but different. But it felt like The Purge, actually.
Now, this is one of those shows where you really wonder, why did any of these contestants volunteer?
100%. The Girlfriend was so cringy that I had my truly hands shielding my eyes for some of it. I felt similarly on Temptation Island, not because I was scared, but because there was specifically one of the young women who made such choices in the pilot about this man that she needed to drop yesterday, the day prior, and the day prior to that, that I was covering my eyes at times, at other times, literally shouting back at the screen. Like I could not physically handle the experience of watching this lady be in a relationship with somebody who did not want to be in a relationship with her, it seemed, during this pilot.
And I was fascinated by all of these very physically attractive men and women who've joined the show to try and date someone who is in a long-term relationship.
Yes.
Fascinating choice.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the hope is you pop. Maybe this gets your career off the ground if you're hoping to model or do some kind of public-facing work. But what an entry point.
So how about we go back to something I feel like channels more old school reality TV vibes?
Yeah.
Got to Get Out on Hulu.
Shocked me because I thought, okay, we have another show like Traitors, like House of Villains, like some other ones. I think there was one on Prime as well, where we're putting together a group of people who were famous from other reality television shows. We're putting a challenge in front of them, and then they have to lie, sneak, and cheat each other to win some kind of money for themselves or for a team. It is genuinely just another entry into that, and yet it was fun. And specifically, it was fascinating to see, like, Real Housewives of Atlanta and some other people that I grew up on sort of attempting to do mind games.
You got to, because I think the challenge of literally escaping this mansion property estate, it's like so straightforward and so public that what else can you do besides try to trick people?
Because the concept is so fun. It's like if everyone stays in the house, we split X amount of money. But if one person escapes from all of us, or two people, or whomever, however many people, they split the prize amongst themselves, not with the rest of us. And so you have to say that you want to stay, say that you want to protect the prize, but also you're constantly tempted to escape with the money. And there's a moment in the pilot, I think it's been long enough that we can spoil this, where one of the contestants gets pretty far. He does a good job, but then the cars that they give him to escape, it's a stick shift. And he has such a human moment where he was like, oh, no. He just could not figure out how to get it going. And I was like, oh, that would be me.
Same, me too.
Be sitting in that car like, well, that's it.
I tried.
I mean, it would be faster for me to just get out and push it.
That's what we'd have to do.
Yeah.
Just roll it away slowly.
It's just...
But quietly.
You putting the car in neutral or me putting the car in neutral, if that's what the girls do with the stick shifts, and then just running behind it and pushing it quietly.
And hiding somehow.
My goodness.
And then we have what was my favorite of our favorite reality shows of the year.
Because you love mess.
Well, let me put a little asterisk, little caveat. My favorite reality show of the year was season 2 of Deal or No Deal Island.
100%. Shout out to Dr. Will.
We're only talking about pilots, so we have Extracted on Fox.
That was so fun. There is a point at which a child yells at his parents that I thought was one of the most interesting things to see on TV this year.
It's a wild take on these survival shows. And it stressed me out, but it's so entertaining. Of the 3 people on these teams, who they chose to put alone in the wilderness.
And it definitely is producer choice, because we had this one family unit that you and I were talking about before we recorded where the father is the one that went into the woods, but you could tell the son and the nephew are more the outdoorsy people. And when he makes the choice, while very thirsty, to drink creek water instead of waiting to figure out how to filter the water, the way the light goes out in the son and the nephew's eyes, because they know what this man is in for and that he's not long for being in the woods and thus threatening their money. I mean, we watch them learn. Sometimes parents are just humans in real time.
You saw all the other contestants in the little headquarters be like, at least we beat that team.
Yeah. I mean, there were people trying to figure out how to keep a clown and a hairdresser in the woods, and they looked over and said, at least they're not drinking poo-poo water.
The little wins.
So why don't you take us from the little wins to the many cries?
You're talking about the drama, the dramatic shows, which included things like Adolescence on Netflix.
Fascinating show.
A real interesting take on creepy child. Let's see how creepy said child can be.
And having it be intentionally on a singular shot. So making everything have to be one take. So all these reactions are so raw. And then having such a heavy topic like young men and violence and online chatter and communities and how that influences it. It really like pulls you in. I mean, you really literally feel like it's your eyes watching everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think what they do so well is force you to sit with all of the scenes as the boy is going through the process. There's so many adults who also add to the tension, from the people at the police station to the father. That makes you feel a little worried about what's actually going on. So you feel it when you watch that show.
Another show that was on Netflix, I guess technically a drama, but certainly was funny to me, was The Hunting Wives.
I think they meant it to be serious. It's just a unusual concept.
It was very campy, very fun. So it was one of our favorites. This one to me felt like All Her Fault, where it's like, is this awards bound? I'm not sure. But am I sat for this? Yeah.
And that's one that really says, kind of like All Her Fault, looking at moms and the stress they go through. This is looking at wives and the way they find entertainment.
With each other.
Or also locals.
And we'll keep it at that.
So let's move on to Boots on Netflix.
This could have been another surprise hit. If you've listened to any of this show, I'm not typically like a military show person, cop show person. I love a procedural, but typically those kinds of stories don't interest me. This one surprised me. I was surprised by how emotionally moved I was by it and how funny this pilot was. It was just a really well done pilot. It brought us into the story, but it made us want more. I want to see how this young boy navigates recruiting into the Army.
They do a great job of balancing the tough, stressful moments from that pressure of boot camp with the lighthearted moments. And I think a theme that you love in a good show that shines in this are friendships.
Yes.
Lasting ones, new ones. That's what helped me deal with the very stressful scenes.
Especially because this is in a don't ask, don't tell era, and this young man is in the closet as a result.
And boot camp sucks.
Already. I'm doing chin-ups, and now I have to hide who I am. Something's got to give.
And there's a bully.
Yeah.
Okay, and now let's move on to another show where I guess you're being bullied in a different way. This time by a vampire on Interview with the Vampire that originally aired on AMC and is now available on Netflix.
I was avoiding this one. Y'all have asked us to review this for some time. I don't like scary things. BJ will sometimes make me watch scary things because speaking of bullying, that is a line here where he will make me watch scary things or he'll make me watch musicals. In this instance, I was so surprised by how beautiful the storytelling is in Interview with the Vampire. I know that it was a hit movie, that this is coming from a very, very popular book series, but my goodness, it really moved me. And having this New Orleans twist and having these characters who are Black and Creole, it was just so beautiful. I really, really felt emotional about some loss that our main character experiences in the first episode. And that alone made me want to keep watching just to see through how he navigates that and clearly on some level lives in that moment and distances himself from it at the same time.
Yes, I think the emotional beats are what brings this to be a favorite for me for the year. And I like how they mix an unusual combination of vampires and toxic relationships and also time jumps. We're seeing things at different time periods. We're recounting stories, but you want to see how the journey goes.
That's true. All right. Why don't you let our listeners know what surprised us in 2025? What shocked us? What shocked the girls?
Well, let's start with one that we were recently shocked by. So all those who regularly listen, you know what show we're talking about. That's Heated Rivalry on Max.
When I tell you I did not know this was a romance program, I cut on Heated Rivalry thinking this is a hockey show. And then I thought, okay, this is another instance of bullying. I'm being made to watch a sports program. I don't really like shows about people navigating sports, even though I love basketball. As you know, I'm Sporty Spice right now.
Super sports fan.
But I was not keen on watching Heated Rivalry. And yet, I sat up when I said, are these two young men flirting with each other? Is this actually about a complicated friendship and possibly more? They had my attention. We just saw maybe 2 hockey pucks through the whole first episode.
Yeah, we saw them in uniform a couple times.
Maybe. And then the rest of it was just the two of them figuring each other out, figuring out themselves, growing pains. I was in.
This is one I got to call you out, me too. And it was in our episode.
Okay.
You were literally surprised by what happened throughout the episode. And let's say it's fast paced. They don't waste time. They know what they want and they get it.
And that's actually the phrase. They get it in.
Multiple times.
Another one that surprised me was overcompensating on Prime Video. I thought this would be like another silly college comedy. And it is. And it's the best version of that. It is like silly and funny. And it has so much heart. It also feels very specifically of an era. Like, I think that they intentionally have 30-year-olds playing college students because they really want you to have that For Loco, I went to college in the year 2010 feel. And it came off perfectly. I loved overcompensating.
And another show where a strong friendship is key to the main cast.
That's true. Another one that surprised me is The Pit on HBO Max. I'm not a medical show person. Wow. Look at me just talking about what I'm not, and then you and I review all these different kinds of shows. But I feel uncomfortable with medical shows because I don't like watching some interesting dramatic moment and then the next scene, there's like an organ on a table. It's just hard for me to take.
Intubation, love those on these shows.
They love cutting a throat, putting a pen cap in there. And it's just like, maybe sometimes there's another way to open up that airway. Like, maybe it doesn't have to go through the front of the throat. Like, you're just slicing into someone's thyroid. In any case, The Pit was so good. Very stressful. It was literally stressful to watch. It made me think of The Bear, but set in a hospital, where it was like, literally there's a time marker. We know there's a big storm coming. We're feeling every minute of being in the ER. I felt like I worked a shift. Actually, let me not say that, because let me not disrespect the actual ER workers. But I did feel tired after. I was like, woo, that was a tough one.
And that plays into their hour by hour storytelling.
It's immersive.
You feel how much they have to go through. It's also great for all of us original Librarians fans to see Noah Weil. But I have to admit, as good as it was, I couldn't watch all of the medical scenes. It was too medical.
Yes, but the drama, fire.
Yes. Speaking of drama, one of the OG TV dramas of the past 25 years, The OC, which you can watch on Hulu, and I remember when it aired on Fox.
Shout out to our very good friend who recommended this one, and I did jump her in front of the recommendations so that we watch this. I was surprised by how much I liked it. I didn't watch The OC and Gossip Girl and the other shows that were like very popular amongst teenagers when I was a teenager, which is odd for whatever reason. I didn't. And watching it now, I was like, man, I missed out. And this is so fun. Now I get to like take in this story for the first time. The first episode was so well written. It made me miss a time where we had longer seasons, because you could tell they were just ready to develop these people. And there were so many great seeds planted, but not too many storylines. Like, it was a tight storytelling where we understood all of these different families, how they play off each other, what are the rivalries, where is the humor, where are the potential romances. Shout out to the OC. Plus, that soundtrack, the nostalgia.
Good music, good soundtrack, and rewatching that pilot really reminded me of what a good pilot needs.
Yeah.
We got the full story, all the introductions, not overwhelmed, not too little, not too much. Really that Goldilocks zone of what you need to make a good show.
This little bear was happy.
So it's been a good year for TV. I mean, this was a long list.
Shout out to television in 2025. Y'all delivered. In this economy, it's nice to have something good to watch.
You know, we got a lot of streaming services, network shows, cable shows. I like that we're still getting a good variety of these TV productions.
And maybe we don't have to cancel all of them after the first season.
That's true. Are there any you want to particularly call out of gone too soon?
Well, like I mentioned, Clean Slate and The Residents, bring those back. I was very happy to see Deli Boys got renewed, and I was very happy to see Overcompensating got renewed. But y'all, sometimes when we really love a show, Netflix, when we really love a show, we want to see more of it. We don't just need to put the first season in the top 10, have it be very popular, and then have it go away. Sometimes we want to just watch where these people go.
And we can be patient. If you want to bring back Teenage Bounty Hunters,
Ooh,
we're okay with like a little gap in the storytelling.
you could put the Teenage Bounty Hunters full cast right back on my TV, still have them play high schoolers, and I would still be on time to watch it and put it back in that top 10. That was such a good show that was canceled too quickly.
Hint, hint, Netflix.
Netflix? Hello?
And some others, but
Netflix?
we want you to listen.
Yeah.
Okay, Me Too. All of these shows that we mentioned, we actually reviewed throughout the year. And those reviews can be found on our website, thepilotpodcast.com. And did you know that people can follow our podcast on their favorite podcast platform?
You're never beating the bot allegations. The way you read that person's going to comment
what?
again, and they're going to think that this is a bot. Or the way that you shared that.
Okay, now you read your outro.
Okay, zippity zappity.
Press play.
Human being sounds. Zappa-da-doopa. We're never beating the robot allegations, but you can follow us on social media where humans mostly post on our Instagram. And by humans, I mean us.
Right.
At The Pilot Pod. And you can send thoughts, feelings, show recommendations to a human-run email address at askthepilotpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.
We're humans. Bye.